Hello, hello, hello. I wanted to come on because just to have a conversation, a brief conversation about signs and symptoms of prediabetes. Because you might think that you're going to get some big sign across your head or something significant is going to happen, and that you'll know if you're pre-diabetic. So I just wanted to come on and have a brief conversation about that. I will be back tonight on my business page, the RN Health Coach page, tonight at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time to do the question and answer session. I'll have a brief teaching and then I'll do a Q&A. But right now, this afternoon, while it was on my mind, I wanted to bring it to you and have a conversation about pre-diabetes. Because a lot of people will walk around and think, well, no, I'm not pre-diabetic. I'm just fine. Um, and they're eating a lot of carbohydrates, a lot of processed foods, a lot of really refined foods, and they don't even know. And that's the whole problem with diabetes. It can be sneaky, very, very sneaky, and over a long period of time, and have things just slowly creep up. And some of the symptoms can be so subtle that you don't even notice it until you go to your physician or your nurse practitioner or PA, some healthcare provider, and they do labs on you. And that's probably one of the most quiet symptoms that you can have checked to see if you're there. If you, most of the times when you're getting your annual physical, which I'm sure everyone is getting here, an annual physical, that means every year physical, okay? Because when you're getting a physical every single year, it's like it's your checkup. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong. You're in prevention mode. You're going to make sure that things keep running on the right track, okay? And that will include quite a few screenings, particularly as you mature. More and more screenings might be required, but they're all preventative. And that is so much more cost effective, not just, financially with healthcare, but in your time and with your life, because doing a prevention might take maybe an hour or so, and you're done, till the next year, the next 5 years, whenever they do that screening again. But if you if you ignore things and you get a disease, then it winds up impacting you a lot more, and not just financially, but with your time. And your time is very precious. So if you don't pay attention to your health, you will pay attention to your disease, because it will definitely impact your life. It'll impact it with either immobility or not feeling as well, not having enough energy. And like you hear me say repeatedly, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you can't help your family. You can't keep going to work and doing all the things that you're doing on running on empty. So you got to take that time to take care of yourself. So I rant on. I'm sorry. We'll go back to the screening for prediabetes. So during your annual physical, your doctor will probably draw some labs, and hopefully they had you come in fasting, which means after a certain time of night, they may have said, after 10 o'clock, don't eat anything. Nothing, eat or drink except for water until we get your labs drawn in the morning. And that way they can get your labs while you're in a fasting state. So everything should be quiet. Insulin should be quiet. Everything should be quiet because you haven't eaten anything. There isn't anything for your digestive system to be doing. So they'll get kind of a snapshot of what your body's doing when it should be all in balance and in a quiet state. So they'll probably draw your triglyceride levels and whatnot, because nothing would be on board to make that artificially high. Because if you go in after you've eaten a pound of bacon or some salami or something like that, even really a couple days, it won't be artificially high because you just had something. Same way with your blood sugars. When you go in a fasting state, meaning it's been several hours since you've had anything you eat, your blood sugar should be pretty normal, okay? And that's usually anything less than 100. They may have even tightened up a little bit and gone down to 95, but it should be just around, because that's where your body, what it's called, it's in balance. It's just humming along there. Insulin doesn't have to do anything. It's quiet. Your body is considered, your blood sugar, as far as that's concerned, is considered in balance. But if they take that number while you're fasting, you've had nothing to eat, and if it's elevated, even slightly, like 110 or 120, that means the last time you ate, insulin was not able to get rid of all that sugar. You didn't burn it up, and it couldn't store it. Okay? So it's not something that someone go, oh yeah, you're a diabetic, you're taking medication, but it's an indication of some early symptoms that you're starting to have some insulin resistance. Okay? This isn't about you not producing enough insulin, because typically you are, unless they decide you're a type 1, which means you don't produce any insulin. Okay? A type 2 diabetes is insulin resistance, meaning the insulin is not able to do its job by metabolizing, either with storage or with you burning it as energy, the food that you've eaten. Okay? So the blood sugar has remained elevated because insulin couldn't fully do its job because of resistance. Okay? And you think, well, what's resisting? If you've listened to any of more of my lives before, and I would encourage you to go to the RN Health Coach page and maybe listen to some of them, the resistance is in the liver. Okay? And if you've not heard that before, hit the comment section and say, even if this is a replay, hit hashtag replay and say, no, I had not heard that before. Okay? So insulin is produced by the pancreas. Okay? So you're producing enough when you're a type 2 diabetic. The problem comes with insulin resistance. Okay? The liver is saying, no, 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 I'm not going to pay attention to you anymore. To the insulin. I'm not going to pay attention. You're always out. You're always bugging me. You're always asking me for something, to do something. And this is animated as far as the relationship between insulin and the liver, but it's being asked to do something. So it's not doing it. So the liver is saying, no, it's being resistant to doing the work that the insulin wants it to do, which is either store it as glycogen or store it as fat. Okay? That's why insulin is a fat-storing hormone. If you don't burn all the energy that you take in through food, beverage, or whatever, you don't burn it up when when it's there being converted and it's in your bloodstream, then insulin either makes it to be stored as glycogen in your muscles and in your liver. And once those stores are full, okay, once they're full, then it stores it as fat, okay? And if it can't do that because insulin is saying, because the liver is saying, nope, I'm not doing it, that's resistance, okay? You've got to fix that resistance, okay? You can go low carb, that'll help, but you've got to heal that liver, all right? You got to get that liver to understand that it's okay to do the job, all right? So you got to burn those stores. It means you got to burn up that glycogen, and then you got to get down to the fat. And you have to eat healthy. You need to eat the foods that the liver likes, like cruciferous vegetables, those bitter vegetables, that kale, that cauliflower, that cabbage, all that stuff that the liver likes in order for it to heal, okay? It's got to heal, and that means taking down its resistance. The other thing that you need to do, if you're looking at, if you're facing pre-diabetes, with these labs, you've gone to the doctor in a fasting state and they've drawn these labs and your blood sugar isn't quite normal. And you think, oh, your doctor may go, oh, they'll blow it. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's a little bit high. You need to take heed at that. You need to acknowledge that and think, okay, what can I do to keep this from creeping up? Because diabetes in itself is a chronic condition. It just goes on for years and years and years. It just goes on and on and on. And it progressively gets worse, okay? Type 2 diabetes doesn't get better. It just gets worse. Unless you resolve the insulin resistance, it just gets worse, all right? You might take enough insulin through shots or through oral medication. That just gives you more insulin, or it forces your liver to take on that extra work. but it doesn't resolve the resistance. The only way you can resolve the resistance is one, stop eating so much sugar. Two, start healing the liver with taking on some vegetables and things like that that will help heal the liver. Okay, so those are some of the things. So if you're pre-diabetic, you may not know it. So you'll go to your physician or your healthcare practitioner and get the testing done, hopefully in a fasting state. They might talk about your blood sugar, and they talk about it being slightly elevated. That's a sign for you that you need to cut back on those carbohydrates, those refined sugars, okay? And secondly, they may do something called a hemoglobin A1C, okay? I know it's a big word, Mike, but hemoglobin A1C. Just take my word for it. Hemoglobin A1C. That is what your blood sugars have been for the past 90 days, okay? That is what your blood sugars have been for the past 90 days. So it's kind of a retro snapshot, okay? And depending on what that number is, if it's, like 5.4 to, like 6.3 or something, that's in the pre-diabetes range, okay? Because normally you would be less than 5.4 or even closer to like a 4.5, really to be perfectly normal. But when it's slightly elevated like that, up around 6.3, you're looking at pre-diabetes. I mean, you're staring it right in the face, okay? So if your physician just said, oh yeah, it's a little bit high, I would ask to be seen again, like in another 90 days after you've done some interventions. And that is you've cut back on the sugar or gotten it out of your life and the refined carbohydrates, okay? And we've had a lot, like those pastas, cookies, pies, donuts, all that stuff will have to go. There is no nutritional recommendation for the amount of sugar that you need in your life each and every day. There isn't. So don't get upset when you say, oh my goodness, I got to take out, pretzels, all that stuff that's made with white flour. Most baked goods are made with white flour. So if you're in a whole foods lifestyle, you're going to get rid of that stuff. Or if you're in a low carb lifestyle, you're going to get rid of that stuff. Okay? Either one. It doesn't make any difference. Whole foods lifestyles don't really take in much baked goods that have, particularly those that have white flour in them, because it's so refined. All the fat and all the fiber have been removed. So as soon as you eat it, bam, it goes straight to your goes straight to your blood, and it elevates your blood sugar. Okay, that's why, because it's so refined. That's why. Pastas, all that stuff, they need to go if you really are serious about getting rid of pre-diabetes symptoms. You really have to get, and all that stuff that's in our drinks, all those sugars that are in your drinks, and even the diet sodas, I wouldn't recommend just because they enhance your wanting for sugar so much. Hey, Kathy, thanks for popping on. I didn't see it. I've got this new camera thing here, and so the comments are over on the side, and I didn't see you. Hey, thanks for turning in. Good job today, Kathy. Loved your broadcast. Anyway, I would highly recommend, and again, this is no substitute. My information that I share with you. Yes, I am a registered nurse. I've been one for over 35 years, but this is no substitute for your health care, okay? This is informational only, so you need to take it to your healthcare provider and go, hey, is she telling the truth? This is what I really need to do? And they're probably go, well, yeah, it's a little radical, but yeah, you need to do that. Because if you really want to get the most out of life, and really get your energy back up and getting to doing what you want to do and get rid of type 2 diabetes, you'll significantly cut back on the refined foods and sugars in your life, okay? I'm not saying that you never can have something. Like, I know people need to go to anniversaries and to parties and things like that, but it doesn't have to be for a lifetime, okay? Going to a wedding occurs one day. You don't have to keep eating cakes, cookies, pies, ice creams, pastas, and all that stuff for the rest of the week. You don't, and the people go, oh, I blew the whole week. You don't have to do that. That's a choice. If you really feel like you can't celebrate with having that piece of cake, then have that one piece of cake. And if you're really off sugar, you're not going to like it because you'll go, oh my goodness, this is so sweet. Or you'll feel bad right afterwards. But don't let it flood the whole week with having tons and tons of sugar and putting yourself back on the wrong track. Okay? Because I know people, clients of mine always go, well, I don't feel like I can socialize because I can't do this and I can't do that. First of all, it's a mindset change, because the way you're eating is a healthy lifestyle eating. The way other people are eating a lot of refined carbohydrates and sugars, that's really not normal. That is not normal. That's why, you know, 8.4 billion people are in pre-diabetes. It's not normal and it's not healthy, but it's just something that we as a society have accepted. You know, we just accepted it. So when I had someone say to me, when do I get to go back to eating normal? I'm like, what makes you think the way you were eating was normal? It's not. We've just accepted it that way, and it's not good for us. It's not healthy. And get this, even if you've gotten away with eating it and it hasn't affected your hemoglobin A1C or your blood sugars, sugar is highly inflammatory, okay, just in the body in general, okay? So you're setting yourself up for all the itises like osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, all those things. You're still feeding that inflammation, cardiac issues. You get clogged arteries and you have issues with your heart with congestion of cholesterol because of inflammation. Okay, so just, you know, if you slide by, you go, oh no, I'm not pre-diabetic, so I can eat all the sugar you want. All you're doing is throwing garbage into your body, and your body's having to constantly put that fire out. And that's what cholesterol does. Cholesterol really isn't a bad thing, but in the presence of sugar, it has to go around putting all these fires out. And unfortunately, a lot of that is occurring in your heart. So it goes and it sees a fire, inflammation comes up, and it puts a cholesterol patch. Those are those clogged arteries. That's just cholesterol trying to put out the inflammation. All right. Our bodies make like 48,000 milligrams of cholesterol every single day. We need cholesterol to live. It's good for you. When the sun hits your skin and you make vitamin D, that's how that is transported. It's through cholesterol. So cholesterol got a bad rap because people hear it in terms of it clogs your arteries. Your arteries only get clogged in the presence of sugar. Okay? Only in the presence of sugar. So while you might think you might escape pre-diabetes, you won't escape the inflammation. All right. If you start saying, oh, my joints hurt, that's inflammation. And that's being caused by a poor diet, refined carbohydrates and sugars. That's what that does. It causes inflammation. All right. So, I just wanted to come on and talk just for a bit about pre-diabetes, because I talk a lot about pre-diabetes, but we never really talk about the symptoms. Some of the more severe symptoms is when you get thirsty, when you're urinating a lot and they check your urine and it's got a lot of glucose, going through it. Those are some later stage symptoms, okay? Much later. Those, you may have been pre-diabetic for 4 or 5 years before that, unless things just really break down. Then all of a sudden, and you may even start to lose weight. And you think, well, why am I losing weight? It's because insulin can now do nothing. And all that sugar is just staying in your blood, and your kidneys are having to work hard to flush it out. And you're urinating a lot, and you're urinating out a lot of glucose, and you're losing weight, and you're muscle wasting. That is because your insulin has just given up, and the liver has just said, forget it, I'm not doing anything. That is total insulin resistance right there. Okay. So that's a really late symptom. Early symptoms are very, very quiet, and you may not notice them, until you go get that annual checkup and you get that fasting blood sugar and that hemoglobin A1C. And they kind of tell you behind the scenes what's been going on. Just like a lot of people would say to me, Lynn, you're always talking about the liver. My liver's just fine. My eyes aren't yellow, and this isn't. By the time your eyes start turning yellow, your liver is down to like a 10% function. That's how resilient your liver is. It will work and work. It's just like a mama. It will work and work and work until it's about to drop. So just because your liver is having problems, it'll give you symptoms. It'll give you symptoms like insulin resistance, a pot belly. That's why you see men. They say, "Oh, they got these beer bellies." That's not beer belly. That's the liver taking on fluid. That's not just a beer belly. That's a liver calling for help. Okay, the liver calls for help in a lot of different ways, and we just don't pay attention to it. It is the second largest organ in the body, and it does over functions, okay? So you got to take care of it. I would make sure that my liver is getting all the, and I do, leafy green vegetables that it possibly can so that it can function as well, and not to have it have to deal with insulin so much. Okay, so you're eating a low carb diet or a whole food diet, still the same, because you're not going to get all those refined sugars and carbohydrates in a whole food diet, to keep your liver from having to work so hard and having to deal with insulin. Okay, you'll be amazed. Your whole body will perk up. 30 to 40% of the T3 to T4 conversion that your thyroid needs happens in the liver. Okay, so if you got a thyroid problem, more than likely you got a liver problem, because that conversion from T3 to T4 happens in the liver, 30 to 40% of it. Okay, so there's a lot of things that go on with your body that the liver is responsible for. So you need to take care of it. You need to not have it work so hard, and you need to get rid of that insulin resistance by decreasing your carbs, healing the liver by giving it the vegetables that it needs so that it can heal. Remember, fresh, frozen, and then canned, however you can get it, but fresh is the best. Raw if you can, or lightly sauteed, so you still keep the nutrient value to it. Dark leafy greens, kale, spinach, cauliflower, cabbage, those kind of, look up, and get your cruciferous vegetables in, because it's so very important. Your liver loves them, and you want to heal your liver. And get insulin quiet. Get insulin quiet. Another way, you're not going to like this, don't eat so frequently. Don't eat so frequently. Get it down to 3 meals a day. Somebody asked, and I think it was Rachel, well, isn't 6 small meals okay? Nope. That's a farce. That was the biggest lie that we were ever told, was to keep our metabolism up by eating 6 small meals a day. No. Eat your 3 meals, don't eat in between meals, and then your liver will have an opportunity to heal, because insulin will be quiet. It only will have to work for those 3 meals, because in between those meals, technically, you'll be fasting, and your liver will like that. It really, really will, because we've been taught here in this country, because food is so plentiful, to eat all the time, and that's not good. Our ancestors, they had feast and famine. Remember, some days we feasted, some days we famined or fasted. So this constant eating, that's why that whole snack aisle in the grocery stores, it's so detrimental to our health, because we shouldn't be snacking. Little kids maybe, because they're growing a lot, but not us grown people, especially people over 35. You don't have any business snacking. It's the 3 meals a day, nothing in between the meals. That will also help to heal the liver. Surprising enough, because you'll be keeping insulin quiet in between those meals, and it'll allow the liver not to have to work so hard and doing all that conversion with the food from the glucose to glycogen and glycogen into fat. Okay, so hey Rixie, thanks for joining us. I was just finished up. I was giving some information about pre-diabetes and how sneaky it can be. How you need to go to the doctor, make sure you get that annual checkup, make sure you get that fasting glucose done, and make sure you get your hemoglobin A1C done. And don't ignore it if it's slightly up. Don't ignore that. Take it. Don't think, oh, I got away. It's still, within, it's high normal, but it's normal. Take that and understand that it's creeping up and you're developing insulin resistance, and start reducing, if not eliminating, those refined sugars and refined carbohydrates in your diet. Get to a whole foods diet or a low keto diet. Really, both are very, very similar, because they do not have refined sugars or highly refined foods in them. They just don't. That's not normal. Eat that way. Those really processed foods, they really don't belong in our life. Okay. So unless there's questions, I'm going to pop off. I just wanted to come on and talk about those things about pre-diabetes, because I talk so much about pre-diabetes. And like I said, it can be very, very sneaky. But here in the United States, most of us are on the way to pre-diabetes. And if you get away with not getting pre-diabetes, and you're still eating a lot of sugar or refined foods, then you're going to get the inflammation, and you're going to have the arthritis, the bursitis, and all those other kind of things, because sugar causes inflammation, and it can clog the arteries in your heart, so you can wind up having heart issues. So eating a lot of sugar and refined carbohydrates, you don't get away with a whole lot with that type of diet. Even if you say, oh no, I'm not a diabetic at all, I'm not pre-diabetic, you're on your way to inflammation into having some major heart issues, if not some structural, some bone issues, a lot of aches and pains. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I'm going to pop off. Thank you so much for listening today. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Rixie, for your comments, for the hearts and the thumbs up. I really, really appreciate it. I will be back on the night, but I'm going to be on my business page, the RN Health Coach page. I will be on tonight at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yes, I know the basketball game comes on, but that'll be at the beginning of the game. So you can pop on, listen to me, ask your questions, and get back in time to watch the first. It's only a half hour, okay? So if you could, please, if you have questions or if you know family or friends or even enemies that you want to have this information, put a comment in the box and share it. Tell them about the RN Health Coach page. I will be on tonight at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time over on the RN Health Coach page. That is a question and answer section in there. And just think about the possibility if, what if you didn't have to deal with this? What if you could get the kind of support and the accountability to help you get out of pre-diabetes or get rid of type 2 diabetes? Think about that. Think about what it would look like. What if? What if I could lose 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds with the support that I need and feel great, feel amazing, get that sexy back, and live the life that you want to live? What does that look like for you? How would that make you feel? Everybody's going to ask, okay? Anyway, I will see you tonight over on the RN Health Coach page at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you got questions or if you know somebody that might have questions, tell them pop on. I'll be happy to answer those questions for you, all right? Thank you. Take care and stay healthy. Bye-bye.